I'm Kaylee. An impaired driver killed both my parents and seriously injured my brother and myself. It was 2 days before Halloween. We were going to show our grandparents our costumes. I'd made my own that year. We were going to show them because we lived in Moncton and our entire family lived in St. John. And we were driving home. We saw the lights coming towards us and Dad's hands gripped the steering wheel tighter. Jeremy looked up from his video game. I braced myself against the door and Mom screamed. He hit us and it turns out he was way over the legal limit. We happened to be at the wrong place, at the wrong time, on the wrong day. I remember the car spinning and spinning and spinning. I remember screaming at the top of my lungs because I was terrified. I had no idea what was going on. And then when it stopped spinning, I remember it being black and almost like you're numb. I wondered if I died. And I came to and I could hear Jeremy screaming. I looked over and Jeremy's holding his leg and he couldn't figure out what was sticking out. Couldn't figure out what the white part that was poking out of his pants was. And he looked at me and he said, "Is that a bone?" I remember just beating on the window trying to get it out. I needed to get out to get Jeremy safe. The last time I saw or said anything to my parents was in the car before the ambulance got there. The engine of the car had lodged itself into their legs and gone completely through. And I remember leaning forward and I knew I couldn't save Mom. And Dad was gone, I could tell already. So I kissed their cheeks and told them I loved them. It was the last time I kissed my mother. Living without my parents is absolutely terrifying. There's days that you want to run to your mother and bawl your eyes out and you just can't. I graduate high school in 2 years. She won't be there. I'm never going to have my father walk me down the aisle when I get married. I won't have my mother there to hold my hand when I have my first child. My kids won't have grandparents. Things can change in the blink of an eye. 1 minute, you're an innocent, carefree little girl, and the next minute, you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's not fair. I should still have a childhood, but I don't. I don't want anybody else to have to live through this.
Impaired driving continues to be a leading cause of death and injury in Canada. We are reaching out to you, the members of the ride-sharing community, public transportation, taxi services, and the tow industry in order to help us combat impaired driving. As you will see in this presentation, approximately 1/3 of impaired driving investigations and charges are instigated through citizen complaints. Your employment provides you the opportunity to detect and observe impaired driving occurrences on our roads. Our goal for this presentation is to outline to you the scope and effects of impaired driving in the region, what you should look for to identify impaired driving, and the process of reporting impaired drivers. At the conclusion of this presentation, we hope to answer any questions you may have in the area of impaired driving. We also hope to empower you to call 911 to report any form of driver behavior that you believe places yourself or another road user at risk. Finally, we hope to reduce the incidence of impaired driving within our region.
From January 1st, 2017 through October 1st, 2019, there were a total of 1,298 drivers stopped by police, resulting in an impaired-related charge being laid. Out of these occurrences, nearly 35% of them began as a traffic complaint from a driver or passenger of another vehicle sharing the roadway. Crashes involving alcohol and/or drugs are a leading criminal cause of death in Canada. Every day, on average, up to 4 Canadians are killed and many more are injured in alcohol and/or drug-related motor vehicle crashes on public roads involving at least one principal highway vehicle. Have a look below at the statistics related to impaired driving fatalities in Ontario. In 2014, road crashes claimed an estimated 2,297 lives. Based on testing of fatally injured drivers, it may be estimated that over 50% of these deaths resulted from crashes in which an individual was positive for either alcohol or drugs. Below, we've broken down the statistics for the number of fatalities with respect to the type of impairment. The financial and social costs of impaired driving are staggering. In 2010, impairment-related crashes resulted in an estimated 1,082 fatalities, 63,821 injuries, and damage to 210,932 vehicles in property damage-only crashes. There were a total of 181,911 crashes, costing an estimated $20.62 billion. These costs factor in fatalities, injuries, property damage, traffic delays, out-of-pocket expenses, hospital and healthcare costs, police, fire, and ambulance costs. All novice drivers, including G1, G2, M1, and M2, as well as commercial drivers, must have a 0 blood alcohol concentration while operating a motor vehicle. When concentration levels reach 20 milligrams to 49 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood, the driver may experience some loss of judgment, relaxation, slight body warmth, altered mood, a decline in visual functions, and also a decline in the ability to perform 2 tasks at the same time. Having a concentration of 50 milligrams to 79 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood may result in a 3, 7, or 30-day license suspension. The driver may experience exaggerated behaviors, may have loss of small muscle control, impaired judgment, lowered alertness, release of inhibition, reduced coordination, reduced ability to track moving objects, difficulty steering, or reduced reaction time. Having a concentration of 80 milligrams to 100 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood may result in a criminal charge, a 90-day license suspension, and a 7-day vehicle impoundment. In this scenario, the driver may experience poor muscle coordination, poor concentration, short-term memory loss, difficulty detecting danger, impaired judgment, self-control, reasoning, and memory, the lack of ability to control speed, reduced information processing capability, and impaired perception. In addition to having a concentration of 100 milligrams to 150 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood, the driver will experience a clear deterioration of reaction time and control, slurred speech, poor coordination, and slowed thinking, as well as a reduced ability to maintain lane position and brake properly. At concentration levels that are greater than 150 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood, the driver may experience far less muscle control, the possibility of vomiting, major loss of balance, and substantial impairment in vehicle control, attention to driving tasks, and visual and auditory information processing. Other non-driving factors that might signify impaired driving include but are not inclusive to vehicle lights are on after dark, the unnecessary use of windshield wipers, visible loose alcohol containers within the vehicle or ones that have been thrown out of the window, fresh damage to the vehicle, and the vehicle is traveling on a flat tire or a rim. If at any time you suspect an impaired driver, call 911 immediately when it is safe to do so. Once you are connected with the 911 call taker, they will expect some certain information from you, such as where or the location of the vehicle and driver, the description of the vehicle, including the make, model, color, license plate number, and any distinguishing features, the description of the driver, the reason you believe the driver is impaired, and if you are still following the vehicle. Once you successfully led the police to an arrest of an impaired driver, you'll be contacted in person at the scene or location or over the phone by police to provide a witness statement. This statement will include everything you had witnessed. Your statement is used to refresh your memory if the matter is brought to court. From July 2018 to June 2019 in the Halton region, there were 551 drivers charged with impaired driving. Of these cases, 325 had guilty pleas without setting a trial. 83 cases were withdrawn or stayed by the Crown. 40 cases resulted in a guilty plea at trial. 44 cases actually went through a trial. And 24 cases had alternative resolutions at trial. 8% of the drivers charged with impaired driving actually go to trial. Here are some final notes. Remember, impaired driving is a crime in progress. Call 911 when it is safe to do so. Report what you are witnessing. Help reduce impaired driving. And help make our roads safer for our families and the community.
Remember, impaired driving is a crime in progress. Call 911. Report as much information as you can. Help reduce impaired driving. It is our shared responsibility to keep our roads safe for our friends, families, and the community.